Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another review on the FUT Birthday Paulinho card. We're going to go through the card, its details, stats, clips and summary. Before we get into all of that, if I could ask you guys to please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when I upload, and comment down below if you're going to be trying out this card. Now let's get into the video. So guys, getting into the Paulinho team that I used him in, I played him in the 4-3-1 in that DM spot. I didn't actually move him from there, guys, because I loved him there so much. My first impressions of the card, this card is really good at just doing everything, guys, and I think that speaks volumes about what you want this card to do. He is just really good in that central midfield spot. Without further ado though, let's just get into the review. Paulinho, high work rates, right footed, 4,000 moves, and 5-star weak foot. 5 games played, 5 goals scored, and 2 assists, guys. Now, what you can see immediately off the bat there with this card is that he does get a really good return. He makes those runs from deep. His high work rates are really good actually for central midfielder, but actually guys, what he does really well is he holds his position very well as well, despite those high work rates. Doesn't charge forward when it's not needed, isn't caught out of position very often either, which was very surprising actually considering that as well. Should have had a couple more assists as well, but poor finishing on my part meant that he didn't get that. But guys, really he's great at doing all of it. And then in terms of chemistry style, guys, I used a shadow on him. I felt like if I was going to play him deep, I needed to boost that pace, of course, and then I figured all the other stats are pretty reasonable, so let's give him a bit of a defending boost to make him a really good CDM. Which brings us into the attribute details, guys. Now the key ones, the key pros of the card: his passing is really good, short passing is fantastic, long passing is a bit iffy but still pretty decent in general. His physicality is tremendous, guys. He is so strong, fast and powerful in that midfield, just in terms of movement as well, because he's got 90 reactions, 98 stamina, 88 strength, 87 aggression and 98 jumping, 91 heading accuracy. He wins a lot of those 50-50 battles in midfield as well, and that's really nice to have in a central midfielder. When you feel like you're under the caution a game, he can come out with the ball and win the ball back for you and take it forward and start creating chances for you. In general, guys, though, as we look across the other stats as well, you can see his dribbling is pretty solid. His agility is the lowest stat there. Not actually too much of a problem if you do play him in the base of midfield. The rest of his passing stats are pretty decent apart from his crossing, and his shooting stats aren't half bad either, and a 90 composure as well. So overall, guys, this card is really well balanced, of course, as you guys can see from the face of the card as well. Really nice player. The only con I would actually pick up on, and it's not even going to be the agility, I wouldn't even mention that to be fair, guys, is that pace. He does need a helping hand on that, but if you do give him that helping hand, my god, he becomes a monster. Really good in that regard as well. In terms of the player traits, we've got the power free kick trait, the finesse shot trait, the long shot taker, and the technical dribbler trait. So all lovely traits to have in a midfielder, and would like the playmaker trait in there as well. But overall, guys, I'm not going to complain too much. This card was so well rounded in terms of what he was able to do. And now that we've covered that, we're going to get into some of the clips that I got with him. So guys, getting to some of Paulinho's clips, and what you guys are going to see is his general ability to play in that base of midfield and really control and dictate the game from that position as well, and really take the game by the scruff of the neck as well. Now what I want to talk about first, guys, is really the only con of this card, which is his pace. Now I do feel like, guys, that he has an okay amount of pace. If you do give him the right chemistry style, then this becomes a non-factor. So really, guys, for me, this con isn't really even a con of the card. It's just something that you have to manage. But I think that, guys, his pace does need help. So if that's something, that is something to consider when you are dealing with how to boost this card. The next thing I'm going to get into, guys, is his passing. I think his passing range is actually pretty good. His short passing particularly is quite good. His link-up play is very good, especially driving between the lines, picking up the ball and playing little 1-2s as well. He's very good at that, and he's able to play the ball really well to create chances for himself or to set things up too. So it's nice to have that in a deep playmaker where he's able to drive like that and create chances. In terms of his dribbling, guys, although he is a bigger player, he doesn't feel clunky like other big players would. He's fairly agile, fairly quick, and he's actually very dynamic in that midfield, and that's what I loved about this card most, was that he is so strong and dynamic in that midfield that it allows you to play with real comfort with this card, especially on those dribbling stats. I do feel like if you put something that boosts his dribbling on him, it's a bit of a wasted stat, because really what this guy needs is a pace boost, and then to really help him out, a defending boost as well, and that will do his card a wonder. A world of good, sorry. In terms of the defending, guys, I feel like his defending stats are okay, actually a pretty good level. But what I would say is that if you are going to play him in the base of your midfield and you are going to lean more on this guy for defensive responsibility rather than box-to-box play, then you do need to boost his defending, because that will just allow him to take the ball cleaner, win the ball more often, and things like that. Combine that with his physicality, which is tremendous. And as you guys can see, there's a number of clips here where he actually sweeps in behind the center backs and does a really good job of defending. But combine that with his physicality, what you do have is a very strong, capable midfielder, able to drive out of defense, bring the ball out, and then start to play the balls to your players that you need him to in order to create opportunities. And over again, guys, that was what I found. And I found that this guy is one of the better, let's say, cheaper midfielders that you can get if you compare him to someone like Adrien Rabiot. I think this card is far better value than the Adrien Rabiot. Of course, the thing that we are lacking on this card is linkability. So that's really where this, in terms of linkability for him being in the Chinese league, that's really where this card does fall down. However, guys, going past all of that, we'll just get finally into the shooting. Now, the shooting for me is actually really good. I think his long shots are pretty decent. I think his finishing's pretty good. And I don't feel like this needs a boost, honestly. Guys, if you're going to play him at attacking midfield, then maybe this would be the area where you would focus. But if you're going to play him in the base midfield, shooting should not be the first priority in my opinion. Although he should be good at it, he doesn't need to be the best at it. He just needs to be able to finish when he gets into those situations. And guys, he has the shooting to be able to do that, which means that you really don't have to worry too much about this stat category. Finally, guys, I mentioned it earlier, but it is another point that I just want to reiterate on this card, is that this card is incredibly dynamic in terms of how he plays. As you start to see some of the goals that he scored for me, he's able to do everything. He's very quick and agile on his movement. He's strong in the tackle. He's a very dynamic player. Reminiscent of Renato Sanchez's energy, but not quite at that level. He is a very good card, guys, and I think that he's a fantastic player for any midfield. He could really do a job next to anyone for a cheap alternative that you don't want to spend too much coin on, of course, as well. In these final couple of clips, you're just going to see his goals as well. The last one here, picking the ball up from deep, again doing the same, driving through the gap, getting into the box. A bit of luck there, the defender doesn't tackle us, but then turning and finessing it in. So guys, getting to this final Paulinho summary, 200k on the PlayStation, 215 on the Xbox, and 265 on the PC. Now guys, if we just go straight into his stats, he's got a really nice, well-rounded stats set there, guys, and I feel like this card really doesn't have that many weaknesses. The only one that I picked up on, of course, in the initial review was his pace. I feel like if you focus your chemistry style on that, then you'll be able to use this card a lot better. The engine, of course, is a very good way to go. I do feel like it's wasted on his dribbling and passing, though, so you may be better off going with something like a Shadow just to help out his defending and his pace, and that way you really do maximize what you can get out of this card. I do feel like his shooting's good enough, his passing is good enough. He does have a very good range, especially with the short passing. The long passing is a little bit iffy, but you can live with it, and what that does give you, if you boost his defending, is a very solid defensive midfielder capable of holding it down against anyone in there, or even playing that transitional box-to-box role. In terms of similar players, guys, he's a very strong player. I would say Leroy Fer is a good example. This Paulinho, I think, is better than him, though, by far. Again, Curtis Jones, Leon Goretzka, these types of players where they're moving in between the gears, those kind of players is what he's like. Arturo Vidal is on this list, slightly lower there, guys. Unfortunately, I can't show him. I don't know if he's as good as that card, but nevertheless, a very good card. If we get to the linkability, guys, he's got one perfect link to Anderson Talisca. If you did that SBC, that's a big dub for you. Brazilian icons, of course, as well as other Brazilians in the CSL. So we have Oscar, Alex Teixeira, Hulk is in there as well as Weaklings, which is where this is really strong, to other Brazilian players who you can link him into. In terms of price comparison, guys, 200k isn't half bad, I would say, and unfortunately I haven't filtered it here by that 200k, but I would say that 200k for this card isn't really overpaying. I do feel like the 200k is a very reasonable price to pay for this card. I mean, if we look below where he would be, it's Paul Scholes, Frankie de Jong, second in form, Marquinhos, Freeze, Milinkovic, Savic as headliners. Now when you compare him to that, you think he's a lot more capable in all of the departments combined than just those guys there. If we get down the list here, he's just below Rui Costa, James Milner, Andre Pirlo, Hatem Ben Arfa. I would say this card definitely usurps all of those. He's just below Frank Yannick Kessié. I think Kessié is a good player, but I think this Paulinho is just so complete in terms of playmaking. He's very good in that midfield, and I really love him compared to a lot of these midfielders that he's next to in the list. If you ask me, guys, where do I rank this card in terms of box-to-box players, let's say compared to someone like a Renato, someone like a Rooney, or someone like a Husam Aouar? He is a level below them, guys. However, what I would say is it's not a big jump. I do feel like if you supplement your team with this card, you won't regret it. He does very well in the midfield and is very easily linked in with those Brazilian links as well. So definitely a card that I would consider picking up. Very cheap as well, because of his league, allows you to build some really nice options around him. Hope you guys did enjoy this review. If you did, please do smash that like button. Until next time, I will see you all in a bit.